Hi, I'm Seamless, and today is Monday, which means it's time for a new bunch of track from scratch videos. This is the 9th track from scratch video in this series, and this is the Drumstep track. So I'll play through what I got so far, and then we'll keep going. Yeah, hopefully my CPU won't die. Cool. So the very first thing is that I was looking through the last video, and I was realizing what I need to do to make this flow better. It's actually pretty simple, and simple is the name of the game because I tend to like to overcomplicate stuff. Well, that can be fun sometimes, but it also means that it's a lot easier for it to just not work. So let's do this. Like that bit is not making any sense. Just stick that in there. See, now it has context. It has a flow, and like I can do the random bullshit in between, which is supposed to be. It was its point initially. And you might remember in the earlier videos where I was talking about that I kept making filler bases, and I needed to make something a bit more controlled, and that worked out that way, I think. Same kind of deal with this part. Yeah, so still some of that needs to get, like some of the fillers aren't filling properly, and we'll need to mess with that, but that puts it together a lot better. Let's look at this. Let's look at this sound though. This is a harmer sound with some business. I'm doing it with this. Am I doing it in here? Or am I doing it? Seems like I am doing it in there. I don't want to mess with it too much because this is pretty on like what I want, and this distortion is going kind of hard, so that means that I can. A little extra gnarly, never hurt anybody. That's working out. I was also noting some business in the intro that probably will need to get fixed. Like I'm kind of on point with this when it gets to this point, but like getting there is a little bit weird. So we'll need to design something in the intro to make that flow better. And of course have like hits and like, you know, kicks and stuff. A lot of this is still, you know, whipping. Yeah. This is part 9, someone says. Yes, it is. I think I said part 9 at the beginning. I might have said part 8, but it's part 9. Oh yeah, so I'm actually using FL 12.1 now, and some updates have existed. Like for example, you can see these mixer routing on the in the channel rack now in the sequencer, which is pretty dope. And also in there is this mute remove steps kind of thing. And right now it's set up so that it's just doing that because it's doing that because that's how it is. But like if I set these up, am I even in the right piano roll? Let's go to this guy. There we go. So normally when you delete a point, it keeps a muted note there. But you see how I delete this point and it's actually removing the point? It didn't do that before. So it's kind of nice. And like they'll stay removed. You won't have all this weird kind of like extra shit in there, which is cool. There was a reason for the muted points to be there in the first place, but it serves a functionality that I never really liked. So or cared about for that matter. Also in 12.1 is some changes in the mixer, which I never utilized because I don't organize things. But I actually might do so now, where if I change colors of stuff, let's make you weird green. It colors the entire mixer channel. And there's also dividers between channels, so you can see things more clearly. And there's actually like degrees of how colorful you want it to be. I have it on high right now. I can bring it down to low, so it kind of fits in a little bit better. But it definitely helps to more visually ascertain what's happening. The high, I like the high though because it's kind of like hilariously bright. It's pretty sweet. There's other coolness involved in Le 12.1. There was something that actually kind of important. Yeah, whatever. I put down one extra hat in pattern 20. Did I? Yeah, I did. You can barely hear it, so that's okay. Yeah, I actually think I want to have a fill pattern here. If I did, it wasn't going to be this one. There. So what's the schedule of streams now, someone asks. Well, it was supposed to have been 2 p.m. EDT today, but I set my alarm for 11 a.m., except I didn't set it for 11 a.m. I set it for 11 p.m. and I didn't wake up till 5. So whoops. You're pretty close to home, aren't you? This is this guy? Jesus. Could stand with have a little stereo in there. I only kind of know what this is doing. Now, I like that a lot of these have sounds that are running, which is to say that they're still moving, and you can kind of see there's some activity going on. There's actually some sound going on in the background. That's one of the phasers, because the phasers, when they move, what they do, it causes a little bit of noise, and then when it gets distorted and compressed and all that good stuff, it continues to just kind of just do its thing for a while. Somebody in the chat said, "Why Fruit Loops and no live Ableton?" and said nothing else, and then said, "What can I say on its opinion?" That's not an opinion. That's a question. To which there's an answer, which is because I like FL. That's it. That's not. You don't know what? Do you know what an opinion is? Oh yeah, there's a big hole in here. What happens if I just put this guy here twice? Doesn't have, okay, all right. Actually, let's do a little bit of that. Oh, didn't see that coming. Oh, he did say question. I'm just blind. Okay, never mind. I'm a blind individual. This is what I get for waking up at 5. Is this like high pitched? Whoa. A little too high pitched going on there, but let's try to find out why. I think it's this, I think. No, wait. One of these is it's this. Okay. And then lots of phasers and flanger move motion. No? Is it this thing? Not really. Ah, the phaser offset. That's a little bit more manageable, I think. All right. Is this the same? It is. This is weird. Alright, this is going to require corrections. Someone says you might have all three. Let's actually say, yeah, I might have all three installed. I didn't tell anybody. I don't. I have Reason installed. A while ago, I had Reaper installed. I actually used to use Reaper specifically for recording, like band recordings. I like multiple recordings. I wasn't that kind of thing. It's because I felt wasn't super great at it. But it got better, so now I don't. And then I got Reason because a guy wanted me to do sound design for a plugin he was developing, which I 100% forgot about. I should probably talk to him at some point. But I installed Reason Essentials, and I just can't figure it out. It's a bad time. It's a bad deal. It doesn't help that it doesn't have any kind of scaling functionality and is dinky as fuck on my monitor. The flow is weak with this one. That's this guy. This guy has presence problems. Just to be weird. Pretty much never put this guy anywhere besides here, so let's put him as a fill at the end here. Let's see what happens. What was that? This is starting to get a little bit more presentable. I don't know what the fuck to do after this, though. Yeah. So I need to figure out something to put on top of all this, because like there's bases and stuff and hats and whatever, and that's neat. But I need to have like something. The easy route would be to just stamp an ARP on top of that, and that might end up what I do, but just because that's just what comes easier to me. But I want to at least try not to do that. In the meantime, I'll put you guys up here because you're drums. Just to be organized. Somebody says, Seamless make tropical step, please. And someone else says, Southern Electro. I don't know what that means. Put a flute as lead. Who am I? Jason Derulo. Suppose I could do some kind of creepy lead kind of thing. And because I feel like it, let's involve Serum in this. Man, the sub is way out there. I mean, it has to be, but yeah. So this will give me some kind of backgroundy kind of thing. Look how tiny Serum is. Actually, this reminds me, real quick. Come on, do the job. Okay. I'll check it out. VR tables. That's right, because I went and actually got Virtual Riot's Serum package to learn some more about Serum, because he makes some pretty good stuff. So we have some interesting ideas in here. Sounds like I'm scratching it. If you didn't know, you could do FM from the noise oscillator, which can do interesting things sometimes. It literally sounds like scratching, which I guess is what scratching is, but it's just funny that it sounds like. What key am I in? E. F, actually. Let's actually put mono back on and turn the part all the way up. Not a fan of this specific table. Let's go find some more tables. I haven't looked at the tables inside the pack yet. Why the hell is it ending? Because that's most of these are made for like lower frequency sounds. Creepy sounds are us. So, So the whole point of this is that I want a sound that will like just kind of be on top of stuff and be creepy. But I mean, I guess I could throw fucking shimmer on there. Boink. We're pretty done with this part, but I still want to like let's try and get this in there. Perhaps the FM from the noise is a bit much. Oh, I did turn it down. Okay, so lesson here is that it absolutely doesn't matter because of the weirdness we're doing with the filters. All right, so my guess is that this is going to be way too much, and it's not really going to work out. Creep. Creep. All right, that is absolutely stupid. Gotcha. Cool. Well, next time we'll figure out something else that'll actually work. Great. Neat. Anyway, for those of you watching on YouTube, if you have any questions about this, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And as usual, have a nice day.